Hey everyone, Patrick here. Welcome to monthly project number 65, and the theme was X-Men. Just wanted to do something kind of fun here, a theme that could really get artists excited to draw. And yeah, the reason for that is I'm introducing a new trials system. So the art trials, it's a fun new ranking system that I've implemented into the monthly projects. I think this will be a real game changer, and it really is like a level system, but for artists. So you're literally leveling up. So it's all based around my art community here on the Patreon, and artists will be ranked and earn stars. So they will submit their art, and then they will be ranked on certain trials like line work or how good are the colors and rendering, anatomy, things like that. So I will be dishing out stars based on that, and then those stars will be racked up and they will be given a rank at the end of that. So it's kind of like a review system, you know, rewards, and I think it's really fun. So I'm pretty excited about this one. Let me explain it just a little bit more. So here's the art trials setup that I've got, and here are the ranks. So artists will start off as rookie, you know, the next one is sketchling, and so on, all the way to legendary. And each month, for instance, so rookie, you know, this month when they submit their art, you know, the stars needed to level up are 6 stars. As long as you keep up the stars, you can level up pretty fast. It gets harder as you go on, you know, because there's only a total of 12 stars that you can earn each month. So, you know, by the time you get to Maestro, you know, or Luminary, it gets really hard. You have to earn, you know, pretty much get everything maxed. That means you have to be consistently really good at everything to be able to level up more. So it's going to get harder to level up as you go. So legendary will be earned. So that's really cool there. So that'll be fun to do right now. Let's have a look, and let's begin. And I'll start going through all the submissions. All right, let's start with Sai. This is your submission. I'm going to base your ranking off the first image that I showed, but these are all really good. You've got so many cool submissions here. I love your work. It's always so intense, such cool action. And yeah, your poses are always great, Sai. I love everything that you do. I mean, these are really good, Sai. So cool. You've got a lot of energy in your poses and your art, just overall, you know, and the execution and the style of it. It's a lot of energy thrown into it. I love it. I'm always a big fan of that kind of stuff. This is great. X23 there. She's really cool. Looks really clean up through here. Nice. Really nice work there. But I want to base the trials and the ranks off this one image because I can't really do multiple. I just don't know how that can really work. So here are your trials results. I thought the composition was good, you know, so just more of a mid-range. It's not overly exciting. I feel like if any improvement, you know, I might have tilted the view, like the camera a little bit more, added that more intense, dynamic kind of action to it. You know, at the moment, it's very side on, perfectly horizontal, which is, you know, it's just not as interesting as it could have been, is what I'm saying. So that's why I gave you 2 stars for that one. The line work, I gave you 1 star, so that's you earned a star for that. Just because it just gets a little rough here and there. It could be, there's some room for improvement with the line work is basically what I mean. It could be a little more refined, cleaner, you know, structured better, and a little more flow. At the moment, it just gets a little rough. And I think one of the problems I think I keep seeing with yours is the blend that you do with your line work. So I believe that you probably use luminosity, the filter, which is where you lighten the black outlines, you lighten them, and then you set it to luminosity in Photoshop, which will blend it with a color that's underneath. So the skin tones, and then here, which is really cool. And I've used that technique for years, but I think that you might be lightening them too much, and it's got something else to do with your flat colors underneath, where they're not, you know, here, for instance, I can see there's a clash. You can literally see where the flat color is hitting the light shirt color. So it's breaking that outline into two almost, and it just makes it look rough. Do you know what I mean? So there are different ways around that, and I would recommend kind of working on that to try and fix that issue, because you see a lot of that blending issue. Like here, the texture is getting really rough through the outlines. I would probably just darken a lot of your outlines, even so that they're really a lot more bold. Through the fist here especially, all your outlines are just getting way too light and you're losing a lot of the contrast. So that's, 1 star for those. Color and lighting, I thought was good. It's nice colors. The lighting's, it's there, it's good. It could be improved. I'm not too much of a fan of it's kind of like a yellow burn that goes through the skin here. It just doesn't have, it's not too appealing. There's something about it. It just doesn't quite work exactly. And the green in the bushes back here, it's a little too saturated. It's too green. And it can come across as just not as natural looking, I suppose. It's too poppy. It's taking over and it's distracting from the character as well. So it kind of pulls you away a little bit because it's way too saturated. That kind of stuff. But I do love the tones and the colors that are coming through here. It's a nice atmosphere around this background area and through here. So I really like all that. But yeah, overall, color and lighting, 2 stars. And then detail and rendering. I gave you 2 stars for that as well. So I just thought overall details are there. Looks good. Rendering is good as well. So just a mid-range. It could be worked on a little more if I was to recommend. I would say you would probably just it's the textures and the things taking over too much. It looks a bit too much like a brush or a Photoshop texture. You need to make it look a little more subtle or like it's, you know what I mean, like it's just taking over and it's too heavy, too harsh. So, and personally, so with body hair, I'm not a fan of using brushes, Photoshop brushes for hair. You go through and have a look. Like my inspiration would be any comic artists like David Finch, even Ryan Otley, the way he does body hair. Like have a look at his Wolverines or anything like that, and you'll see the artist will draw in every single strand of hair as a brush stroke. So it's a way more. It's just that artist touch, Here is just, it's a little too Photoshoppy when you see the textured hair. It doesn't work for me, and I'm not too much of a fan of that. So that's just my honest input there. But yeah, details and rendering, not too bad. I do like what you've done. So yeah, well done. You've earned a total of 7 stars, which does let you level up because we need... you need 6 stars at least to get to the next level. So you are now Sketchling. Congrats. You've leveled up. Your next rank will be Apprentice. That's what you got to strive towards. Have a look at the new project that was just released and you can see what kind of trials you can aim towards there. Well done, Sai. Really love your work. All right. Next up, Jeremy. Jeremy Clark. Really love your work. You've always done great. This is a cool X-Men piece. I really love seeing all of them together. It's great. Multiple characters. Now, as for your trials, composition, I thought was 2 stars here for the composition. It's clever. It's smart. You've got Magneto, center focus. Everyone else, all their eyes are all obviously aiming towards Magneto. And now, as a composition, that's very smart because that's all like... all the lines are aiming towards the center. It's just drawing the viewer's eye straight there as well. And then you can, it's just appealing because your eye will naturally just flow around the piece now. You can take your time and just, oh, look, there's Wolverine, Nightcrawler. And it's just a very nice and appealing composition. Very good. Now, I only gave it 2 stars because I feel like there could have been maybe a bit more. It might be the white blank background. It's a little too simple for me. If there was more to it, it would be an even better composition, something that can help improve it. Some background elements that can even enhance the viewer's eye to, I just feel like it's a little too plain when it's just a white background. Line work, I gave you 2 stars as well. So your line work's good here, and I believe you deliberately use this kind of textured, artistly kind of brush. That's a style choice, I understand. But I feel like it could be, even though it's deliberate, I feel like it needs to just be somewhat more tidy. Whether it's sized down slightly and tightened up, I don't know, because it's just coming across a little too rough. Like almost like crayon, you know what I mean? Even though it's deliberate and it's a style choice, once you zoom in, it kind of does lack in a way. So I would personally, you can still maybe even explore other brushes that do have that texture to it, but are a little cleaner. I think that would be the way around it. But yeah, overall, I believe your art would be even better if you changed the brush or just cleaned it up somehow so that it just looked better. Because your drawings are really cool. I love your cartoony style. I think the line work's just stopping it from being better than what it could be. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just something about the brush. That's just my opinion. And color and lighting, I thought was 3 stars. So yeah, congrats on that. I thought, I can't complain. You've got a really good understanding of colors. And what I mean is like little things such as when you get to like a skin tone here, right? You've got the skin tone there, but then the darker tone, if I sampled it, it's actually, the hues move more into like a purpley kind of reddish tone rather than just a darker version of that skin tone. Like you've actually thought it out. Like shadows should be a little different. And then your lights, like this light pop is more almost yellow, like a bright yellow. It's not the same kind of tone as this. And that's a smart choice. It just adds variety. And I just think it's nice now, especially with Colossus here. So his shadow versions are like going definitely to a purple, where the metallic color is more teal, and then the shine is white. It's very, you really know your colors, and all of them are just very appealing. So well done on the color and lighting. Detail and rendering, just a 1 star. Like I said, this kind of ties into what I was saying before about line work. Details are just, they're there, but it could be better. And the rendering, there's not too much rendering. And I understand it's a cartoony style, but it's hard to rank, and give more stars when there's just not as much detail and rendering there. So that's more just a trial, that's maybe this isn't suited to. Because each month we're going to have different trials that you can strive towards. So, so this one's maybe just because of that. It's not really too much to do with your work because that's your style, So 8 stars for you, Jeremy. I think that's really good. And you leveled up. Sketchling. Well done. Awesome. All right, next up, DB. Now, in the email, I'll say, sorry, you just didn't have a name there. There was no name in your email and even in the tag of your email. So I couldn't really find out what your name was, and I only just saw the DB down here. So apologies for that. If you want to let me know. Yeah, I think you're a new patron, or you may have been for a bit. So just let me know your name and your, even give us a tag for your Instagram or something, and I can help you out there. So DB, I'll just call you that because that's what I can see here. So composition wise, I gave you 1 star on this one, mostly because it's just a bit too front on, a bit too straight up and down. There's not too much to it. It's good because you do have, your star focus. The horse is really cool how it's taken up a lot of that space. And, naturally our eyes do go from the top left down to the bottom right when we're looking at a piece. That's just how our eyes subconsciously kind of naturally flows through a picture. So you've got that working for you through the horse's body all the way down through that leg there. So your eye can naturally flow. That's good. That's why I gave it a 1 star, but there's just not too much more to it. It's a little too simple. Line work, Not too much to it. It's a bit too rough. Even the things like the fist crossing through the claws, the lines. Yeah, honestly, the line work's a bit too choppy. It needs a bit more work and refining. Things like the nose and the face. We need to, if there was a bit more structure, just spend some more time really getting into that line work and refining it. It could really bump up the quality of this piece. I think it's just the line work that's probably taking it down a bit. Because if you zoom out, you've got the drawing there. I like the poses, and the structure and the anatomy of Wolverine and the horse is all there. It's just the line work that takes it down. So if you could work on that, I couldn't give you any stars for that, sorry. Color and lighting, 1 star. Because overall, I do like this, a vibe about this. The colors are good there, and it's a nice strong vibe. But there are a lot of elements that it's a little too overpowering, like too orangey and a little too hot or something rather, too saturated. So that kind of took it down a bit too. So yeah, color and lighting. And the rendering is just a little too harsh, too dark and muddy almost in a lot of areas, especially once you get to a white shirt. It's got a lot of black through it. So anything that's like a white shirt should have very, very minimal black at all. So that's just, yeah, you need a little bit more thought through the colors and such in the rendering. And the detail and rendering I gave, no stars there, but same kind of thing. The rendering is just, I'm not too much of a fan of the soft brush used through there. It just needs a little bit more work through all the rendering and details and stuff. So that's something to work towards. I recommend. Have a look through. I want to see you more active. Like, let's have a look on Discord, get into the community. I have a lot of tutorials as well there that could help. And I want to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your work through here, and we can get you shaped up. I want to help you improve. So let's get you going, DB. I want to find out your name as well. Let me know. So 2 stars there, and no level up for this one, but keep at it. I want to, you'll get it. You'll get there. All right. Next up, Patrick DeThomas, and you got Kitty Pryde here. X-Man, really cool piece here. Always love seeing your work. This is great. You got a really cool style. Super clean too. This is cleaner than usual. Looks really nice. And more pop, so that's good. All right, let's get into the trials for you and see how you went. So composition, I gave you 2 stars here. I thought the composition was good. I like it. I think it's really nice. It's not cropped off too much. If you wanted that extra star, I feel like it just needed, maybe, I don't know whether it's a little more space or something. It could be just too tightly cropped in or something rather. Like if I was to put the grid, the rule of thirds, I believe, that's what it is, over, I feel like her face might be just slightly out of that kind of interesting area. We need to, if she was just zoomed out slightly, her head would fit perfectly in the rule of thirds area, composition wise. And it's the same with, I forgot the dragon's name, but his head is going up too much close to the crop. So that's what I mean. If we just, composition wise, if it was just slightly zoomed out, I think that would fix everything. Line work. Now your line work here is really nice. Really, really nice. Superb. I love it. I think it's really good. 2 stars for that. I really like how you've started to, you've got the bold outline holding a character together, and then you've got it nice and tightly, there are finer details throughout. That's very professional looking through here. Do you see how you're like, it's not bold all through, which can drag a piece down? You've actually got, you've spent a lot of time and some thought through that line work. It pays off. It's really good. Now, if you wanted that extra star in your line work, what I would recommend is, I feel like it's just slight little things, like I'm finding that, so the ear here, you can get a really close look at the ear, but things like this could just be structured slightly better, like even better. And I feel like stuff like the ear is good, and a lot of people would say there's nothing wrong with that ear. But personally, I just feel like it could be structured just slightly better. A lot of maybe some tighter shadows. Use some of that black ink work inside the darker bits, maybe just slightly. Things like that. Something about the eyes. I like them. They're really good, but there's something in them that needs refining, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Yeah, but things like that. So line work, really good. The only other thing I feel that may drag it down, not drag it down, but thing that could improve your line work is, I like how you bold around here. I do. I really like it. But I still feel like it just needs, how can I explain it? So it just looks too much like an applied stroke on the outside. Do you know what I mean? When you're in Photoshop and you can just apply a stroke to the outside, which will add that border around, but it's always perfectly the same balance. It looks too much like that. So I would personally treat it more like an artist has gone around with a pen, and it's got slightly thicker and thinner values to it and more wavy. I feel like that would just really upgrade that part of the line work. Still do exactly what you're doing, but when it comes to this border around the outside, it's just a little too perfect for me. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. Like here especially, you see that? It just looks too perfect. So if you just shaved off a little bit of that thickness down to that point and make it so the point was like thinner, but then it still gets back to thicker around here, I think that would look nicer and more appealing. Stuff like that, you know. Anyway, color and lighting, 2 stars I would give you. I just feel like the colors are good, really good overall. I can't complain. They're good. But if you wanted that extra star, it could be a little more lifted and pop. I feel like her body, the black part of her body and everything, it's getting too lost in the background here. So if you just had a bit more pop behind her to lift her off, maybe show the silhouette of her body more, her pose would just show, and it would really lift this whole piece. If I had more time, I would show you an example, but I'm really tight on time this time. That's why I can't really dive too much into the critique like that. But that's what I mean. You could either play around with a heavier side light. You see that side light? You've got a really subtle little one there. You could maybe play up and make that more intense. That would lift her off as well. But things like that, that's where color and lighting, you're lacking that 1 star there. Detail and rendering, 2 stars. As always, your details, your rendering is beautiful. It's near photorealistic sometimes. It's really, really nice. So you got 2 stars for all of that. I just feel like maybe it could be, it's got room for improvement, and I just believe it could be bumped up. It could be, even more enhanced. There is room there. I know that. And it's just you nearly got 3 stars there. But, I feel like in the black, when you're doing any black suit or anything like that, you could actually add intense black shadows in your inks, basically. So like heavy dark spots of black through there, and that'll really make a contrast pop of that. Have a look at how J. Scott Campbell maybe does Black Widow or Black Cat or even Spider-Gwen. If you just Google that, you'll see what I mean and how he does black suits of women, and you'll see what I mean. He just packs in the heavy black inks, and that would really work well here. You would have a chromey look to that black. At the moment, it comes across as a matte finish because it's just kind of all grey. So that's where that could be improved. Anyway, I'll leave it there, Patrick. That's great. You earned 8 stars. You've leveled up. Sketchling, well done. Next one to aim for would be Apprentice. So yeah, and check out the new monthly project, and make sure you check out the new trials for that as well. There is a new set of trials. I've added in anatomy for that as well, which I think you're going to be really good with. So yeah, enjoy. All right, next, Paul Churi. I love your work. Well done. This is great. X-Men. Have a look at this. I love how you've turned this into a cover as well. So there it is without and with. You know, very cool. Let's check it out without so we can go through your trials here. This is really cool, mate. Love what you've done. So composition-wise, 3 stars. I thought this is very professional. The composition here, 3 stars. I don't think there's anything wrong about it. I was thinking really hard about this composition-wise, and I just thought this was super clever. It's just brilliant. It's tied together well. Even the way you've got the rocks and debris smashing up through the top of the composition, just so it's not so much empty space. You've got the earth there. You're just keeping everything a lot more interesting. The way the beam goes up through there. Our eye is just drawn right through. Even the perspective, if you look at the perspective of the structures here, it all aims up and towards, draws our eye to the center because of the perspective. Very smart. And the angle's interesting. It adds drama and intensity to it. It's very cool. Very smart composition. So 3 stars there. Well done. Line work. Your line work's always really good. I gave you 2 stars for this. I think it's really good. Now, I do think it could be improved a little more. That doesn't say it's bad at all, but I feel like once we zoom in a bit, it's just not as detailed. It's actually, it lacks a little once you zoom in. So there's no line work around her lips and such, you know, things like that. Some of them I find are lightened up a little too much to the point where you can see the break in the flats underneath. So this was similar to what I was telling Sai. If you want to fix that, I think it's luminosity. By the way, good tip, I don't use luminosity myself anymore. I used to use it all the time. But when I don't like to use that anymore because I was coming across this issue a lot. So what I do now is I just lock the transparent pixels of the line art layer, and then I just paint with a soft brush through. So if I was doing the red hair, I would just paint a darker red of like dark enough to be line art color through there. So I colorize the outlines of the hair myself. So I just go and colorize like the skin myself and all that kind of stuff. And that way you're kind of judging it by eye better, and it's more of an artist touch. So I hope that helps. But yeah, if you wanted to fix these kind of things, like see how the red of the hair flat color, you can see it underneath the outlines. I would just shave off that part of the flat color until it hits the edge of that outline, and that would fix that issue. But yeah, just line art as you zoom in, it's just not as refined in some areas. And it does get, the other thing about your line art, as you get into the center of a character or within a character, your line art stays too heavy, I believe. Like up through here and in the face and such. But even these kind of details and the ribs and down the center, it's all too heavy still. I would personally lighten that and refine it. Add a bit of finesse and just a lighter touch to inner details. And then keep the thicker ones for the outside of the character, which will hold the character together and give it that contrast pop. That's just my advice there. Color and lighting, 2 stars. And yeah, so I like the colors. I think they're really good. The lighting's great. There was just that extra star wasn't quite there. I think it's just got something to do with the fact that it doesn't look completely finalized. It looks like you're just before the step of a final touch. Do you know what I mean? There could be more pop and stuff to the rendering of the skin and the suit here. It just looks like there's something missing, like it's not completely finalized, and it gets almost too much like a flat color through the background here and here and here. So yeah, little unfinished in the color and lighting. So 2 stars though, because overall I do like the colors. I think it's really cool. Detail and rendering, 2 stars. You've got a lot of details and a lot of rendering. I thought it was really good. For that extra star, the same kind of thing. I just think it needs that extra rendering, that extra oomph and pop, which isn't quite there. It's nearly there though. So overall, 9 stars. You did really good. You've leveled up now, Paul. So you are now Sketchling. That's your rank. Well done. You're aiming for Apprentice next. Really good work there. All right, next is Andrew O. This is really cool. We got a rogue. I like your rogue. She looks cool. Let's get into your composition and have a look. So 1 star for this. I thought you earned 1 star here. Now, only because it's a very simple composition. It's not too advanced or as interesting as it could have been. It's very horizontal side scroller kind of setup, so it's not as interesting as it could have been. There could have been a lot more work there. For instance, if you change the pose pretty much completely and had it more of a 3/4 angle towards us, and she's running and leaping towards at an angle maybe, and then you could have added perspective with these bullets, almost coming towards the viewer, but off camera. Added a bunch of perspective. That would have made a really cool composition, a lot more interesting overall. So 1 star there. It's just a little too simple for me. Line work, 2 stars. Your line work's good, but it could have had that extra star. It's really good. See, as I zoom in, you've got some really nice details. That hand is structured really well. The line work looks really nice. The face, you've put a lot of effort. Even the hair, I really like the detailing of that hair and the line work throughout the character. Really good. Really good. So well done there, 2 stars. Color and lighting, I thought the colors and the lighting are good. I gave you 2 stars because there's something about this that has a vibe about it. It's almost a very almost cinematic vibe, which I like. And I like that side beaming light that's really lifting and making it pop. I just thought your colors and lighting were really good. So well done on that. I thought that was great. Detail and rendering. So your details and rendering, 2 stars. I thought good. I like your rendering. It's got a nice cell shaded touch to it. It's a cool style. Very cool. I like through here in the jacket. Look at that. It looks very professional and nice. That rendering is very clean. Very nice. So I just thought that was really good. It could be improved a bit more. Only thing is, I feel like the cell shade might be it needs some kind of blend, or it's too obvious, or there's something about it that's it's just not sitting completely well. It's actually really good, but it's something about it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard to put a finger on it. But I like it. I think it's really good. You've done a really good job there. The details are all there. Background looks great too. I think you've done really good overall, Andrew. So 7 stars. You have leveled up. You earned over 6, so you get to level up. Sketchling. Welcome to Sketchling. And next up is Apprentice to strive towards. Well done. Okay, next up is Uze Gula. Hopefully I've said that right. And here we go. Very cool X-Men piece. I mean, I like seeing ones like this, an entire setup of multiple characters, fully action, it's very cool. So composition-wise, I gave you a star for this. I feel like the composition, it's a cool setup. You've earned a star. I like the way, you got Wolverine front and center, and it just breaks down and they get smaller and smaller all the way down to Rogue, So the reason you didn't get more stars was probably just placement. So Wolverine himself, I just feel like it's a slightly awkward setup. That it's maybe if his whole body was a little lower. I believe if he was lower and his head was probably here, still have the arm more up, more intense, like really lunging towards you even more. So that would give Cyclops a little more room to shine and maybe angle him a little more. I feel like his angle is slightly wrong. Nightcrawler, I like him there. I actually really like him. Maybe if he was slightly up, just slightly up a little more. And then if she was smaller, so that she was pushed back more, you would have a more dynamic setup. Like it should be really pushed back in space, which would actually make that Sentinel look bigger because she would be smaller. So, and that would perfectly fit in that space, because at the moment she's starting to hit up towards the crop too much. You don't want them getting lost and falling out of the picture. So yeah, composition, it's just slightly lacking a few placement things. So line work, I didn't give you any stars there, sorry, just because the line work itself there's not much there to begin with actually, but it's just a little too choppy, not too much effort in the line work. It looks a little rushed. Yeah, I just feel like it could be refined a lot more. And I believe you've got more of a painterly style. I'm not sure if this was done with traditional paints or is this digital art. But it comes across as a little too rough, a little too slapped together. Do you know what I mean? Like, and what do you call it? Like unsure or just not refined enough. It's hard to read. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just too painterly. So, and yeah, the line work and details just aren't quite there. Sorry. So no stars on that one. Color and lighting, I gave you a star there because I do like the colors. They pop. It's very colorful and it looks quite, nice, and it draws you in. It does. But it's just lacking, the lighting and the colors kind of area. Like I said, there's not a lot of rendering and lighting. So there's no form really to these characters because they come across as a little flat. See, the Wolverine's yellow is just all near flat yellow, and same with a lot of others. There's a little bit of shading through there, but it's just a little too faint and a bit messy. I'm sorry. So if we could just improve that, shape up, and do a bit more rendering and lighting, and really pull that together, it'll really improve things. Details is what we're looking for. So the next step is, details and rendering. No stars there, sorry, but yeah, I feel like you could really work on that. That'd be a really good one for your work. Focus on details, especially in the drawing stage. Try and do things like collarbones and things like that, anatomy. So a little bit flicks of the muscle, so you can see the bicep, draw the little flicks in. Focus on details in your line work and refine these muscles. Abs, the abdominal area under the pec, draw the pec lines. Creases in the clothing, wrinkles, things like that. And it also seems like he's only got 3 fingers here, but that's probably only because the claws are in the way. Maybe there is a 4th finger, we just can't see it properly. That's kind of what I'm seeing there, because that looks like a thumb there. But yeah, so just refine those, focus on your details next time, and yeah, you've got a lot of potential, a lot. You just need a little more refining in the right direction, okay? So yeah, 2 stars for this overall. No level up this time, but I know you're going to do well next time. I know it, because I can see it. You've got so much potential. Okay, Dan Irwin, next up. So composition-wise, no stars there, just because, overall, I can't see too much of a composition. There's not much to it. There's no background. It's really just a pose. So I'm sorry, I couldn't really give you any stars for composition there. Line work, I'm sorry, I also had to give no stars because it was just as I zoomed in, the line work's there, but it's just not cleaned up enough. It's a little rough, a little too simple. There's no value to it. We need more detail. So yeah, it just gets a little too simple and rough, like through here in the fur, too thick all the way through to the point where it becomes messy. So it's overpowering just the thickness of those lines. needs more finesse and care and thought through. So these could be really thin, just flicks of detail through, just to refine hair, and then just do thicker ones around the outside of the arm that kind of creep in a little, which will hold that arm together, that boldness, and that'll really almost like framing a piece, you know. And then all the details inside are lighter. That's what you should be doing. The structure of hands and such are a little rough for me. See here, like that's a little awkward up through these fingers, in the way of that placement there and things like that, you know. So I couldn't, and the toes up through here, the line work here, it just comes across as a little unsure, you know, and not clean enough. So I couldn't give you any stars there, sorry. Color and lighting, I gave you 1 star there because I don't mind the blue and the lighting is there. You've got some flicks of light through the fur and such. Not too bad, so I gave you a star there. But yeah, we needs more work on the colors. I wasn't too much of a fan of that yellow. It's really taken over and popping too much for that belt. Even though it's a yellow belt, it's tucked and it should be in a shadowed area, so it could be dimmed down a fair bit, and that would probably help. It's too distracting. Yeah, and the detail and rendering, 1 star there. It's just, yeah, I just thought that the details are just a little too overpowering, and the rendering is too overpowering. It's too much, and it's a little unsure as well. So a little too messy, but the details are there. I mean, you zoom out, it looks very detailed. There is stuff to it. You've got potential, a lot of potential. It just needs, you need to be pushed in the right direction, I think, and a little help. So hopefully, I do have some tutorials out there. I got to remember which one it was. I think I may even have a fur tutorial. If you look at that one, yeah, it is. It's a fur tutorial. That will help you a lot doing things like this. Yeah, anyway, I'll leave it at that. You got 2 stars overall. No level up this time, but there's always next time. Well done, Dan. Looking forward to what you come up with next. All right, next up, Darren Yeats. And you have composition. Okay, next up, Darren Yeats. And we have Storm here. So this is really cool. Love this X-Men piece. Very cool setup. She's very awesome. I mean, look at that. This is really cool. So composition-wise, 2 stars I gave you because I just thought this was a really cool composition. To have the low angle looking up at her, it's very empowering, and she looks almost kind of threatening as well. Like she's powerful. It's a very powerful pose. So that's very cool. You've got the pyramid composition here, which is, you know, even this bolt of lightning, I don't know if you thought about that, but that bolt of lightning and even this one is drawing our eye up towards her head and face is the top of the pyramid, and down that one there. It's a really cool composition. You should look it up. There are different types, and this is the pyramid kind of type. Triangle composition. 2 stars, very good there. Nice thought gone into that. Line work is really good. I gave you 2 stars. If you zoom in, the line work is good. Now, I want to say this though. I'll say this, right? So your line work's really good. I love the way you've done your lines through here. You've got a very kind of anime theme to it. I like it. It's really nice. This is not in the trials right now, but what I'm finding is there are just a few anatomy issues. That's what made it kind of hard to judge, because I was originally going to give you 1 star for line work. And then I realized, no, it's not actually the line work. That's like, it was just the anatomy that was throwing me off, which is not part of this trial. So the line work was good. I thought this was a 2 star worth line work. The anatomy is this bump here. I understand it's probably the hip, but it comes across more of a abnormal kind of thing. And the abs here could be tucked more, you know, just tuck that ab in more. It just, there's a couple of problems here and there, but a lot of people would not notice. Just things like that. The knee here, just a few extra bumps here and there that just come across a bit awkward. And through the fabric here of this arm, I think the folds should be probably going the other way because of the perspective, like that. See, that's the right kind of way. They're folding up and over. These ones are kind of going down and under, which would suggest that biceps really pulling back, but the angle would not let that happen because we're looking down and up at her. So the folds could probably be going over. That would help that situation there. But just things like that, you know. And the face, you know, there's a few anatomy things through here and placement stuff, and the ear is probably too big and things like that, you know. But the line work itself is good. I like the details through the hair, all that stuff. So that's why I ranked it like that. Anyway, color and lighting, I gave 2 stars. I thought that was really good overall as well. I like it. I really like it. What you can improve in your color and lighting is probably it's just, that's what I mean, it's really hard. Like, I'm finding this shadow here just too solid. You need more blend, like maybe a couple of, like another cell shade of breakthrough there, like a medium shade, and not just instantly heavy. It's just too harsh slightly. It does look cool everywhere else because it adds that intense contrast because she's using lightning, which is very, you know, like powerful. But yeah, something about it. Anyway, and detail and rendering, 1 star. So your rendering, that's what I mean. It's good. It just could be a bit better. So it's too harsh. I believe you probably need another cell shade to break it up or something rather. It could have something to do with the lighting choice, the fact that it's lightning and it's, you know, I know what you're trying to do, because if you see other references of anyone using lightning or any powerful light source, the shadows are really dark and intense. Dragon Ball Z do this a lot because obviously they're doing Kamehamehas and those big powerful balls of energy like this, and their cell shades are really dark and heavy like this, so it works for them. Maybe have a look how they do it as well, but it has to be done right. And yeah, it just didn't quite, there's something about it that didn't quite sit with me. So 1 star for that. 7 stars overall. You did level up. Congrats. You're up to Sketchling. Good work, Darren. All right, Paul Cameron. I'm going to rank you on this picture here, Cyclops. I love that. I think it's really cool. You did submit some more too. I believe these are the ones you've probably done in the past or current. Very cool. That Juggernaut, that's awesome. Love these. You've got a few. These are really cool, man. I love your work. Absolutely love your work. So yeah, the reason I chose the other one is just it's got everything to it. Like these don't have rendering and such, so I thought I would base it off the first image. How cool is that? I love this one, by the way. This is another one. I nearly chose this, but because we have a trial for color and lighting, I chose the color one. But this is so cool. This is awesome. I love the vibe. How cool. That would make a really good t-shirt, you know. I'd love to have that on a t-shirt. Anyway, let's go back to this Cyclops and let's go through your trials. So composition, gave you 1 star there. It's a good composition, but there's not too much to it. It's probably because it's too cropped in. Also separate from composition, I'm finding the anatomy through the hand and the arm here just slightly awkward. There's something about placement, whether it's not enough shoulder. I believe his shoulder should be a lot bigger. Maybe the bicep a bit bigger, the forearm, everything a bit bigger if it's coming towards us like that. And the hand, it just looks like too small or something through this whole area. Yeah, composition-wise, not too much to it. So I gave you 1 star. Line work, it's good. I gave you 2 stars for that. I like your boldness. It stands out. You know, it's a cool piece, especially from a distance. But it's once you get in a bit, it's just a little. It could be a lot better. You know what I mean? So since you have a character like this, and it's cropped so close, you know, you have such a close up of Cyclops. This is where line work should be used a lot better. For instance, like his teeth, like you could really show even each tooth and refine do some extra details. Pay attention to refining and really structuring, and just spend more time in the face and the hands, because at the moment it just comes across a little rushed, just it's a little too thick and bold everywhere. I would thin it out and add a bit more finesse into the lines, since it's so big, you know. So spend more time basically in, like, the hair, you know, it's a little too simple and bold. Spend more time really on that line work, and that would really work here. Color and lighting, 2 stars for that. I thought it was nice and colorful, you know, very colorful. So yeah, it's got good colors to it. The lighting's good. You got this beam, really, you know, it's intense. But yeah, for that extra star, there's just something about the, I don't know what it is. It's just bringing it down a little bit. I think it's the choice of the yellows. They're not quite right. There's something about it. I don't know. It's hard to judge. Like the beam of red could be a lot more red and intense. It gets too dark here. For a beam of light that's supposed to be super powerful, it should be a lot. And there's black going up into the red. That shouldn't be there at all. I would probably personally even just red. You can still have that detail of the nose there, the bridge, but just have it a darker beam of red. No black in there at all would have helped. Detail and rendering, I'll give you 1 star for that, just because the rendering's just, like I said, you've got such a close-up of him. You could spend a lot more time in the rendering. It just seems a little simple, a little too rushed, or not necessarily rushed, just it could have been a lot more refined, and it gets a bit muddy through here and a bit unsure, this whole area. You want everything to make sense, and here just seems a bit too hidden. Like, I would just rely on your line work to do the shading in there. Maybe just not have it so muddy and faded. There's too much blur, that's what it is. You want to maybe have more cell shading through that area. Gets a bit too dark, like burned through there. I'm not sure. So yeah, there's something about contrast in this that's a little too dark. Anyway, and the details are just not there enough. So overall, 5 stars. Didn't quite level up this time, Paul, but yeah, you can always, there's always next time. So Sketchling would be what you're aiming for next. Well done. All right, next up is Liam. And yeah, these are quite different. I see you've got multiple submissions here, and that's, yeah, all of these. So it's like a sequence, or, you know, comic strip almost, of different things. I love seeing Phoenix up there, raging out. Very cool. I mean, look at all this. It's like really cool scenes here. Very, very cool. I like going through all of these. That's a really cool action scene there. Nice. Just going through this now. Look at the backgrounds as well. Lots of attention to the backgrounds. Very cool. I can see your style in this so well. And that's it there. So yeah, very cool. I like this skydiving kind of scene here. Now, yeah, it's just, obviously I can't rank you on colors and things like that. It's just line work. So composition wise, I have to pick one. I can't do all of them. So I picked this to rank you on, because it's the most held together picture, multiple characters, and yeah. So composition, 1 star I gave you for this. I just feel like it's a little too simple. I do like how all these lines draw your eye into the center. Thing is though, you need to have Wolverine dead center. He's just off center to the left, and it's really bothering me. So if you had him centered, anything like this, a background that's like this, especially with a big circle framing them, he should be right in the middle, just to make sense. That would be the perfect setup. But he's just off center, and it's got it. Yeah, it gets a little irritating. So that should be, yeah, move Wolverine in the middle. Just place them a little more interesting. Another thing you could do is slightly angle her run. Just like, all we have to do is get her whole pose and just tilt her just slightly. So it's got like an angled run to it, you know, when you throw because her leg is stepping down, you could really just have her like this way, slightly running at an angle, and then his pose could probably tilted the other way, and that way they're all spread out. It's like more intense. That would be a better placement. So his pose could be angled like, see how my mouse is going through his arms? So if you changed his pose so his arms were going like that, would be great. Just tilt him as well. Line work, 2 stars, sorry. I like your line work. You've done really good here. It does just get a little too bold in areas like this, like too thick. You need that finesse, like I've said in the other ones, just too much boldness and thickness going off through. You need a little more care, a little more, and especially here, look at that. Massive, thick, bold line all the way through there. That could be super thinned out to the point where you get near a white break through that line. Like, get that bicep bulging up over that line. Like, shave off that black area there. Stuff like that, you know. Really thin out these details. That kind of stuff. So, yeah. Get 2 stars there. Color and lighting, I can't give you any stars, obviously. There's no color and lighting. Details and rendering, 2 stars. Because you obviously have a lot of cool details. There's no rendering, but I'll give you 2 stars on all the details. I really like it. All them details are cool. Especially in the faces. Her face is really cool. Well done. Here's. Love the faces. Anyway, 5 stars overall. So well done there, Liam. Didn't quite level up, but there's always next time. So yeah, great work. And that's it for this monthly project. I know it's a little different this time around. It's all new. I'm just trying out something different, trying to structure it. You know, eventually, I know this was a little long than usual. You know, I like to keep these no more than half hour, but it's a pretty long video. So I'm gonna have to try and work out a way to structure this a little better. Maybe break down the trials into, you know, dot points. So, and just give notes and not such a detailed description. And I'd like to give a little feedback here and there and like markups and things like that. So things will change a little bit as we go. This is the first one, so, but yeah, it'll be good. If you're new to monthly projects, feel free to jump on board at patreon.com/Patrick Brown, and you can join in on the monthly projects. We've got art competitions. I'm doing videos every fortnight. So there's always fresh content, and yeah, a lot more. You know, whenever I do art, I give out the PSDs and things like that. So there's a big library, like over 100 tutorials and things like that available on my Patreon. A massive art community. So feel free to jump on board. It's great for any artist. All right, thanks everybody. I'll see you next time.